For today's video, welcome to another playwriting video. For today's video, it is, extra brightness. Don't need extra brightness. But today's video is a playwriting video, and today we are talking about the American playwright Annie Baker. I previously mentioned her in my video of Claire Borrans there. You can have a look at that. It was not a very good one. I keep messing up on that video because I keep pronouncing Sheffield. I do apologise. She's not English. She's not British, I mean. She's not British. She's American. Claire Borrans. I don't know why I said Sheffield because I'm an idiot. But this one is Annie Baker. It's an American playwright who's been in the playwright industry for some times, but this is kind of like more of in-depth information that I found of her, especially from one of her plays. So before we get into today's video with Annie Baker, I want to put my absolute disclaimer that I mean nothing about any of the playwright's work. This is for educational purposes, that I found information that I searched on the internet and I'm combining into one video. There is one content warning for one of her plays which I will alert, which is about domestic abuse. If you're not ready to hear that right now, completely understand. There's another playwright I'm actually currently looking on. I'm not going to reveal all because I don't do spoilers and also might not go ahead. So let's get on to Annie Baker. Annie Baker was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and she was moved to Hurston. I think I could not pronounce that name properly. I do apologise for anyone who lives in that area if I don't pronounce it properly. There is not much about Annie Baker's life. Like I said from the previous video for Claire Borrans, there's not much about her life that so far speak, except she moved to New York City following her parents' divorce. Her parents were divorced and they moved from Massachusetts and then another area in Massachusetts, and then she moved to New York. She attended the New York University and then graduating in 2003 for dramatic work. However, even she was graduated and gone through she has to go through multiple other jobs in her career where to keep her theatre interest. And while working, she wrote her first play, and that's where we get into her work. So this is her first ever play that she's wrote. This is a play she's written before, and all of her plays I'm going to be saying as all. There's no one-act plays, or there is a one-act play she did, but it's over 2 hours long. But we will get to that one. So her first work is Body Awareness, 2008 at the Atlantic Theatre. So from when I looked into this play, I knew it was a topic that I think it will be close to my heart because I'm all about body positivity. I think everybody should be proud in the bodies they are doing. If not, keep working hard, keep making that process and everything else, but always be proud on what you've been given. That's what I always say to everything. To everyone, I mean. To everyone around the world. Be always proud of who you are. That's most important in this day and age. The play focused on Body Awareness Week at Neumont College. The organizer Phyllis and her partner Joyce are hosting one of the guest artists in their home, who is Frank, who is known for taking nude portraits. Both his premise in the home and he chosen his subjects to investigate the tension from the start when he arrives. This play has been given funny elements. From what I learned through the research at Annie Baker, she uses a lot of comedy to keep the audience up and going and all this and all that. She's a very she wants to keep her plays more welcoming and more open for everybody. She doesn't really write any contemporary issues within her plays, but she has written plays that can be politically correct. But most of all, she's not like hating on people. I think she's a very private person, but I don't know the information that she's very political in her work. Then the themes are feminism, illness, love, LGBTQ+, and the genre is comedy and drama. So you can tell that she's a comedy writer as well. She has a sense of humour. And then her second play is Circle Mirror Transformation, 2009 at the Playwrights Horizon. The play has focused on 4 New Englanders who enroll at Marty's 6-week-long community drama centre class, and it begins with a lot of games and hearts are torn throughout this whole play. This play seems very interactive when I was looking into really interactive stuff. Like there's a couple of playwriters that we will be looking into hopefully in the near future, like Tim Crouch, which will be another playwright who used a lot of participation in his plays, which we will look into that. Spoiler alert, but that's not our next playwright we're looking. It is a he, and he's a British playwright. The play seems more interactive and engaging with the audience, which is, I think, it's fairly good. I think it's really, really good to think about it. Like, I like playwrights make theatre more exciting to see in the eye than just sitting down and watching drama. I like a little bit of participation. I like to get involved in stuff, especially into theatre, where you can just, instead of just sitting down and just like, really, it's just, I like a little bit of involvement. I like a little bit of involvement when I'm watching theatre. If you understand what I mean, I don't want to just sit there and watch a piece of play performing live or anything else. I'd rather watch something that is more engaging and more upfront and everything. That's what I really do prefer. I couldn't really find any themes of this play, which is a little bit odd, but all I know is a really good, interesting play to look into. So it is a really fun play to see. And then her third play that she did is called Aliens at 2010 at the Rattlestick Playwrights Theatre. And this play is a really, really good one. It's like considered one of her well-known pieces of her work, which is like her big one that she became quite well known and everyone's like, oh look, Annie Baker, and it's just one of her big well-known pieces of work. The play centres on Vermont at the cafe shop. Sorry, that was my phone, not me. In the cafe shop in Vermont, and there are 2 angry young men who have these disagreements and are very angry with life, and they have discussions about music. And another guy, I really could not pronounce his name, Bolotsky. I really can't pronounce this name, but I will put it on the title up there. And then a young man came through, and they started making friends with him. He's a very young, I think he's a teenager, and he arrived in this cafe shop, and they started develop a friendship. And by teaching him everything, they were teaching him music, they were teaching him life as as we know it, and we will get to how her style of playwriting, because it's just amazing, her style. It really is a real truthful, really nice way Aliens is. When I first heard of Aliens, I thought sci-fi. Really, sci-fi, aliens, obviously it's aliens, but it's not. It's absolutely different. So I think it's a metaphor. I haven't read this play, by the way, but I really desperately want to. But it's like, it's a sci-fi, it's not a sci-fi, it's a pure naturalism. So I don't know really the meaning why she put the title called Aliens in, but it is a very great play that really discusses the built up of friendships, getting to know one another, learning from one another, and it's a really interesting insight on what this play really focuses on. Like I said, it explores the fundamental of friendship building. I feel that this play relates to me a lot because I have a group of friends that we always discuss about music. I have a friend of mine in Gainsborough that you've seen on the vlog. We have music tastes, very weird, obstruct music tastes, and it's mostly the same. We both went to Download Festival that year, and we were quite up close to see Papa Roach, which Papa Roach are my favourite rock group. Going off track. The play is known for a moving portrait of friendship to where it highlights the fundamental rule of how friendship works. And I feel that this is amazing, really sweet, very warm, very welcoming play. The themes are friendship and music, and the genre is drama. I really don't know if it's a comedy, but it is a very light drama, very easy to watch. And then we get to, I'm going to try and pronounce this right. Please do not attack me. If you're a big fan of Annie Baker, please do not attack me, because I'm trying to get words right. And this play is called Nortric Drama. In 2010 at the Rattlestick Playwrights Theatre. The title is on there. I'm trying to. This play is set again in Vermont. So this one is like a 3-part series. This is a 4-part series of a series that she created through theatre, which I found it really interesting. This play explores a grown man, Stiggy, I think that's how to pronounce his name, Stiggy, who actually moves in with his mom and his stepfather, and that's how the play works. And then he met a young woman that he'd grown to know. I found this play really nice to really look into. She really touches on crisis as well, like topics that she would like to talk about. She doesn't write plays that everyone's talking about right now or using a similar theme. She goes off her own theme. Like this play explores Judy, who is the mother, who's suffering with mental health issues since her husband's divorce, and then her newly married husband is a bit overweight and he has addiction of gaming and all sorts. And then you have her 26-year-old son moving in and trying to build a comfort barrier between the crisis she's living through and then trying to be better. It is a dark comedy, so it's a very light element into a serious matter. The themes is family reunion and family issues, and the genre is dark comedy. And then we get to my favourite, and it's the first play that I heard of that I never seen. It's one of my absolute favourite plays. I never read this play. But this one is really, really interesting. But you'll see, it's called The Flick at 2013 at the Playwrights Horizon Theatre. The story focuses on a rundown multiplex cinema, and all the ushers are underpaid. And so there's a lot of stories that they come from. I think one of the characters is autistic. I don't don't know. I have watched an interview before, and they said that one of the characters is autistic in there, and there's other stories coming along as well while the play has progressed, and they were talking about work and all sorts. But this is in a very interesting background. This play is provoking, has a interesting, provoking style onto the theatre, to where Baker wants her shows anywhere, like in the theatre. She doesn't really has a precise mind on where the audience sat or where they seated. She just breaks down the tradition, old school. Audience sit in the auditorium, and then they have to watch the stage on there. She just breaks off and saying, no, for the flick, I want the audience sit on the stage and they can watch facewards and watch it from the auditorium. I think this play only works better in black box studios, because you can actually watch the audience coming down. You can watch the actors coming down, and it's more has an interesting look. I wouldn't even see it in a Theatre Royal area, because you got the circle and it can be a bit far back as well. The themes are working class and money, and the genre is drama. And this next play is considered like a play that I really want to get into. It's a really interesting, thought-provoking play that is like on my radar, up my street, and it's I class it as a Gothic theatre style play. If you don't know what Gothic theatre is, it's basically a play with darker moments, so like dark romances, murder mysteries, and well, not just murder mysteries, like monsters, like ghosts and horror, and all things nice on stage. I love Gothic theatre, it's my favourite. So this play is called John, released at 2015 at the Signature, from the Signature Theatre Company. So this is actually from a theatre company that Annie Baker worked with very closely for this play. The play is set on the week after Thanksgiving at a bed and breakfast place in Gettingson, Getsyburgs. I do apologise for anyone who lives there, in Pennsylvania. And it takes story on a young couple who are struggling to stay together with some issues they have coming across the play, and because they both differ. Like, you got the boyfriend who wants to go travelling into historical sites, while you got the girlfriend who's trying to keep their expectations close together. They really are trying to keep their relationship on hold. And then suddenly, the manager, the owner of the B&B, that's well, no, but we'll talk about the B&B. So, sorry, I didn't mean to go on that one. But the B&B, it was full of toys, figurines and old Victorian items, despite they were in the Civil War theme hotel. The play focus on those items, and you will get to that moment there. The B&B owner, Miritz, believes that the B&B is haunted by her friend's abusive husband called John. This play is described as uncanny because it is a Gothic theatre piece of theatre, and that explores the ghosts, and it also explores the dynamic relationships of couples in a very interesting Gothic theme. And I really like that, where they have contemporary theatre in Gothic theatre. I really love that unique style that they have. The themes are relationships and domestic abuse, and the genre is drama. I yet again forgot to mention domestic abuse, but I didn't really talk too much of it. But when we're coming into the next couple of videos, I will be discussing very hard up playwrights that discuss that, but I will put pre-warnings on. Might be doing one of Sarah Kane, another playwright, which is going to be full of content warnings, so beware of that. And then the next play, which is a very unusual second to last play that she did, and it's called Anti-Duloops, 2007, at the Signature Theatre Company. Title is on there. There's not pretty much what this play really is about. When I was looking at it today, there's nothing really what this play is all about. It's mainly... Excuse me. I'll tell you what this play is all about. You ready? It's a play about a group of people sitting around on a table, and they are telling stories about stories. I was just like, whoa, that is really incredibly straightforward. This extreme satire play, I described this play as a concept play. And if you don't know what concept play is, it's basically a concept play explores a play through a theme without a plot. So you got, these are like musicals. So you got the like musicals like Company by Stephen Sondheim and Cats by Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'm not talking about the really, really bad film adaptation. Really bad film adaptation, despite all the actors are really good. I always still say the actors work really, really hard on this. I feel like the direction and the special effects did not work. I felt like some of the actors worked extremely hard. Like Rebel Wilson, she worked incredibly hard. I don't think she's bad at all. I don't think she's bad at all. I think there's some actors who are not very good, but I think the cast worked harder for the film. Sorry, I sound very contradicting there. I do apologise. So yeah, pretty much I didn't know what Anti-Loops actually is about. Except it is a concept play with a group of people talking about stories. It's a little bit similar play to Conor McFerguson The Weir that I read, which is all about ghost stories and all sorts, but it has more of a story in there, more truth in there right at the end. And I will get to Conor McFerguson as well in later my videos because I absolutely adore him. And he's a great playwright. The themes are stories and the genre is dark comedy. And then we get to a final play, but this is her newest play that she's just released for this year. I might end it here actually because it's called Infinity Life at 2003 at the Atlantic Theatre. The only reason why I'm going to say I'm going to leave it there because I don't know if this play is performing. I don't know if it's performing this year or it's coming to the UK. I'm really unsure. So I'm going to play it safe and I'm saying no thank you. I'm not going to look into that play. She has done one adaptation, Anton Chekhov's play, which is all the other previous mentions, but this is the only work I'm going to look into. Now we get to her style of writing. So this is what I mean in depth. This is what I've been looking into on a book that I looked into called The Theatre of Annie Baker. And this is what it's said. Baker creates drama with a precise and vivid attention to language, gesture and space, that we are able to experience life in her own way. So she creates these vivid imagery, created these imagery elements to forward the language, and gesture and space to make us experience more life in general. Like I said, she doesn't really talk about political correctness or politics in her plays. I feel like she curved the ball over and said, no, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I want to talk about this. And was talk about life and everything. So if we go back to her play called The Aliens and the Flick, The Aliens, it was all about building friendships, about music and style. It has an interesting tick in there which is found so refreshing to look into. She takes like comedy into a area. She used comedy a lot in her plays to make it more thought-provoking, more interesting, and take it into an extent that we don't normally see contemporary theatre quite a lot. Her play, like I said, there's no political correctness or anything else. I'm not saying, when I mean no political correctness, I not mean it's not offensive or anything like that. It's just, she just wants to talk about life. And I think it's really good, interesting about her plays, how they created in that way. Like I said, let's move politics out of the way and let's create a space that is open for people just to watch theatre, just to watch performances. Like John, it's a haunted ghost story about an abusive partner, of abusive husband, I mean, not partner. And she talks about that really solidly, and it's a really, sound like a really interesting play. It was a set reading for another student, but I wish I could have had that play. I'd be like, nope, that's mine for John. And that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay in tune. Bye!